Oh, yes, and I'm speaking about the Charles Bonnet syndrome. I'm going to find out what that is exactly. And with me this morning to enlighten us is Cheron Fausin-Hoster. She is the founder of the Trinidad and Tobago Society for Charles Bonnet Syndrome. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so you need to break it down for us. What is the Charles Bonnet syndrome?
Okay, according to the Royal National Institute for the Blind, Charles Bonnet syndrome is a condition that affects the visually impaired, whereby they see things that are not there, medically known as having a hallucination. So persons who suffer from conditions such as cataracts, the glaucomas, age-related macular degeneration, diabetic eye diseases, these persons are at risk of experiencing Charles Bonnet syndrome.
Are there any known causes for Charles Bonnet syndrome?
The known cause for Charles Bonnet, there's no cure at the moment for Charles Bonnet syndrome. The best therapy is letting persons know that they are not going insane. Because the symptoms of Charles Bonnet syndrome is that you see things that are not there. And you know, in our society or around the world, once people talk about seeing things, the first thing that comes to one's mind is that it's a mental condition.
Right.
But Charles Bonnet syndrome has nothing to do with mental illness. It's simply the reaction of the brain to vision loss. Because you know, we see with the brain and we see with the eye as
Right,
well.
exactly.
So when the eye fails, the brain kicks in, fills in the gap and make you see things. It's just that what you see, it could be scary for some persons. I guess if someone is an elderly person is at home suffering from Charles Bonnet syndrome and seeing little children running around, that might be comforting. But when you go on to the complex hallucinations where you see people, animals, you will see scenes changing in front of you. You see Lilliputians, you see gargoyles, you see anything that you can possibly think of, real or unreal, you would see, and it's vivid. So persons at home would enjoy, but when they start to see these horrible stories, it becomes a problem. It affects their daily routine.
Of course.
You know, so hence the reason why we, as the Trinidad and Tobago Society for Charles Bonnet Syndrome, is trying to bring awareness of this condition. It's only, as a matter of fact, in June this year that the World Health Organization has classified, under ICD, has classified Charles Bonnet syndrome as something worthy to be, you know, for doctors to know. So you find pretty soon a lot of doctors would, you know about Charles Bonnet syndrome and also be able to warn patients who come and talk about seeing things to know they're just saying one-sided that it's a mental thing. But listen
Right.
to them, it could possibly be the Charles Bonnet syndrome. And they should, you know, warn patients if that is happening so that they would not go away thinking that, hey, I'm going insane, something is wrong with me, you know? So that's basically it.
How is one, so when one goes to see their physician, how do they diagnose it?
Well, first thing first, many doctors are not aware of it because Charles Bonnet syndrome, it's under-recorded and it's under-recognized. One, Dr. Oliver Sacks, the late Dr. Oliver Sacks, he wrote in one of his books called Hallucinations that Charles Bonnet syndrome is still little recognized, even by doctors. And there's much to suggest that many or most cases are either overlooked or misdiagnosed. So it's important that the symptoms of Charles Bonnet syndrome come out there and that persons are warned about it.
And they're made aware
Yes.
of what the condition entails.
That's right. Another point too is that there are other conditions that people hallucinate. For example, intoxication, you hallucinate. For persons suffering from dementia, they could even Parkinson and strokes. These people could experience Charles Bonnet syndrome. But in order to really determine whether or not Charles Bonnet syndrome is real, you have to do what you call a diagnosis of exclusion. So you exclude all those conditions and then you drill down and you know, okay, once the person is visually impaired, it's a great possibility that they could have the Charles Bonnet syndrome. As I say, there is no cure, but the best therapy is letting victims know that they're not going insane because that is a big fear for them.
Right, and I understand that the Trinidad and Tobago Society for Charles Bonnet Syndrome actually has their first spoken word poetry competition coming up.
That's right. We thought that was necessary, especially I was invited by Dr. Deborah Bartholomew and also along with Ms. Agard to go to the hospital and have a presentation to talk to especially those persons who are visually impaired. So we visited the eye clinic and we had presentation. We went to Mount Hope as well. And I was really amazed and thrown back by the amount of persons who suffer with eye conditions. You understand? So we decided, well, hey, instead of just going from the top to Lions, the different institutions, and talking about Charles Bonnet, why not have a spoken word competition to get our national involved? And that we did. So we had a spoken word competition at Central Bank on the 30th of August. And we throughout the thing, we had we invited participants to go online and like our page.
Right.
And then, 2 months, they were given 2 months. They were given the materials in which to research, and they had 2 months in which to study and come up with a video, which they did. And we had a competition, right? And we had 17 participants.
Right.
We had a first, second, third place winners. And I have the first place winner was one Nicolette Sylvester. And I think we have a video.
And yes, we indeed have that video. So let's show the public what you're speaking about right now. Let's take a look.
Donna, come quick. This no-face man on the wall stick. I feel it's my Charles Bonnet syndrome acting up again. Have me seeing things and feeling like I'm going insane. But Donna, Charles Bonnet syndrome is not a sign of mental health issues, but merely my sight loss that has me grabbing for tissues. There's no medical cure for my CBS, it improves within time, they say, but I could try a few brain shunting strategies to help bring relief my way. Okay, I seen a no-face man on the wall stick. They can let be brave, turn to him slowly now. Blink, blink. Or try getting up from where I stand and walk into another room with a transit. Okay, some relief. Now, earlier Charles Bonnet syndrome was developed in the 17th century by a man named Charles Bonnet, whose grandfather was having visual hallucinations. Now, don't get it twisted, because it's stated that there are people who are hearing impaired getting musical hallucinations, and one like me, who is visually impaired, is getting visual hallucinations. I was so scared to tell people. Unlike Charles Bonnet grandfather, I wasn't seeing any square handkerchief with 4 orange circles. In fact, I was so scared to be stereotyped as the one going loco. But as time goes by, I have no fear, and day by day the reasons become clear, as fMRIs can now be performed while you are hallucinating to explain to everyone exactly what is happening. You see, it shows that your primary visual cortex is active when simple geometrical hallucinations are present. You see, I was lost in my vision, and the visual part of my brain became hyperactive. The doctor said that my fusiform gyrus was damaged, and if it was abnormal, I would have been able to recognize faces, but I don't. But Donna Gill, lose faith in myself I won't. And thank God that the Charles Bonnet Society of Trinidad and Tobago is here to help, supporting me each and every day so I can finally be myself. And although I hallucinate, I am scared, but it comes from my brain. I have hope in myself that one day Charles Bonnet syndrome won't be able to bother me again.
A brilliant piece there by the young poet. And what was her name again?
Nicolette Sylvester.
Nicolette Sylvester, you know, and really helping to push the message and raise the awareness for what it's all about in a very artistic type of way. If people wanted more information on the Trinidad and Tobago Society for Charles Bonnet Syndrome, how do we get in contact?
Okay, you could go to my Facebook page. It's the Trinidad and Tobago Society for Charles Bonnet Syndrome. I'm also on Twitter at C. Fausin H. And as well, my telephone number is 764-0153.
764-0153.
Or 792-9262.
All right, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Cheron Fausin-Hoster, founder of the Trinidad and Tobago Society for Charles Bonnet Syndrome. And again, you know, thanks for carrying the torch to really raise awareness and, you know, let people know what it's all about and continue to do the fine work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much. We're going to take a short break and come right back. Stay with us.